Durand Jones and the Indications, a lot of the songs featuring Aaron Frazier. This is it does such a beautiful justice to what soul is today. I think it's so wonderful to like for an art like for a band like this to go back or to make soul music in this modern context and doing it in a way that kind of acknowledges what has been done with soul in the past 20, 30 years, where soul has been used primarily as hip hop samples and even EDM samples, where people would take soul and chop it for hip hop, and then people like Kitchenada would like use it for like EDM disco stuff, or take that's disco soul. And so I think they make this soul music with respect to that, where it's kind of like this mentality of hold my beer, you don't need to take this and sample it. I'm gonna do everything that I need to do with this. Like they're doing everything they need to do with this soul. There's not anything left to be done. Like me as a producer, I'm listening to this album like, wow, there can be some dope samples in here, but there's nothing I want to touch that hasn't been done on this album. I thought this is chord heaven. This is the chords that they're playing throughout. Magic, literal eargasm. It's like those are the exact chords that you would want to hear, but not at the same time they're not predictable. I think the song structure and the instrumentation is just so captivating, and all that is done, I think, in such an incredible way, even to the point where I cried from the last track, I Can See, just because I thought it was so fucking amazing. Like I do have my gripes. There were certain times in the album where I was like, I got bored of the song, even if I thought it was amazing. I was just like, okay, I was ready for the next one, but I think that didn't take away from my enjoyment of the project.
This was my favorite project of the weekend. I love this album. I love soul music so much. Like I heard this album, did no prior research on the band. I thought this was an old man, like an old school band who's been doing this since like the '60s, who came back up and said, "Let's do album 2021." Because you put this in a capsule, you dig it in the ground, and go find a time machine and go back 50 years, you won't tell the difference. Right.
But no, the thing is, you will tell the difference because it is soul. It's that same exact soul, but just like in the context of like how soul has been viewed today. It's like you don't like, okay, Kitchenada, you don't need to put a synth behind this because we're gonna use the same synth.
Look, no, this is and you're right, and I agree with that. But like even with all those, like I think you would have dropped this back in the '60s or '70s. This would be considered like album of the decade right there, because like it puts that boundary and put in that context of today's era, and said, you know what, I'm gonna take everything that you guys love about this genre and all the things that you guys in hip hop and EDM did, and just make it that and better. Like the songwriting here, I think is impeccable. Like you said, it's chords heaven. Like you were just spitting. You said everything I wanted to say. So like I feel like I'm repeating you, but like you're just like it puts you in this world where you're like, yo, like I feel like an old head right now. Like it's just so groovy and fun to listen to. It's nonstop. Like I heard this album 5 times. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, I went back. Like every time I finished it, I wanted more.
I wanted, and it's crazy because like I have the Spotify on loop. So when it's done, it goes back to the first song. It's well synchronized, even front to back to front again. Like it just. They made such a concise and cohesive piece of work here that and while I do have some gripes about some songs, I don't think yes, I think some of them were a bit tedious, especially in the middle portion. Sometimes it did sound too samey, but like those are nitpicking for me. Like on the overall grand scheme of things, I think this is one of the top albums of the year. Like for me, I love this album.
Yeah, and I would 100% agree with you on that. Like it's to me, it's kind of comparable to the Gavin Turek album that we covered a couple weeks back. In that, like, that album was very obviously like, okay, this is a person who absolutely loves disco music and synth pop from the 70s and 80s, but this is like their interpretation of it. To me, this is somebody who has listened to the side A and side B of every single Earth, Wind, and Fire album, every single Isley Brothers project, and they're just sitting there and they're spewing that back up in 2021 for how they see it, you know?
It's not them doing it and trying to recreate it in that time period. It's literally like it pays such respect to what has been done with soul. Not necessarily the soul that's being made today, but it's like how soul has been interpreted in today's lens.
I had a special friend come over. I put this album on before him. I love this album.
He put the candlelights on.
It's a great album. I'm a
I
big
think this
fan
is.
of the
I think
album.
that. I think this is a good
Great
album for
album.
a special friend. I think this is a good album for a pretty a nice
Absolutely.
ride with a pretty girl.
This is a great album for
He said
like
the back, he
Loki
said the
anything. Like
back
this is
part
like a
on.
good like I was walking like earlier, listening to this, fire. I was I was in the shower, fire. I could do anything in this album.
I
I
want
could
to walk
take
the city
myself
street.
out to
Listen to
dinner
this.
happily and
This,
like
Oh
listen
this
yeah.
is
to
one of
this.
the,
Oh yeah,
this
for
is one of those
sure.
albums.
I could drop a band on dinner and eat alone under candlelights and listen to this and be happy as hell. Honestly,
This is
this
one of
was
those
like a
albums where you spend $500 on like 2 pieces of bread with a shrimp in the middle, and you happy as fuck. It's just in the background. Like this is
yeah.
actually what this album is. Like you like I it's funny because me and Cam had the argument the first time he was here about does good what is good music? Good music had translate everywhere, or does it have a particular setting? And does that even matter? But like this song, I feel like just this album goes everywhere. In the car while you're walking, maybe not in the gym, but look, man, if you pumping out iron to this, then you special, like for real.
Hey, on a
Like,
on a cardio day though, it could work on cardio
yeah,
day.
it can work on a car. Like you can go jogging to this, you can go to the beach, you can go to restaurant. Like because this is just good music.
I think
And
that also just speaks to soul as a genre though, because I feel like a lot of soul
yeah,
music is like that.
Yeah.
Soul is
So
very
yeah,
versatile. It's
like
glamorous. It's so glamorous. It just makes everything that you're doing more grandiose, I think.
I also just feel like that aspect speaks to this being a very like well done soul album. Just the fact that it is so like you can like this is just good vibes that you can have pretty much whenever. And I feel like soul, at least for me, is like it's just good vibes. It's just that kind of like energy from the music, and this definitely gives that and embodies that really well.
Comparing soul music to or at least this specific soul music to designer pieces, I think that's a perfect way to put it because there are good songs and you could like just like you could find a great shirt at J Crew or not J Crew like TJ Maxx or something. You could find great shirts there, but like it's like one of those like it's like a Versa or like a Fendi t-shirt. But like you don't know why it's so expensive. You don't know why it's a Fendi T-shirt that's like $500
yeah,
because it's the silhouette, it's the fabric, it's the stitching, it's the little things. It's the for this album, it's the chords, it's the sound design, it's the mix, it's the little subtle things that aren't like right there in your face where it's like, oh, I'm so obvious. Look at me, I'm this huge thing. It's like no, these chords are immaculate. These drums are perfectly placed there, where it's not one thing is demanding your attention, but it makes the overall like quality of it like it makes it more expensive. You know what I mean?
like
It makes
I think
it.
well said.
this top five for me. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody. This
This
top five
is
for me so
this
far in the
is
year.
on the
And
list for sure.
That's,
Yeah.
I love the Gavin Turek album because I didn't talk about it in the review because I didn't listen to it at the time, but I heard it, and that's the perfect comparison what you said, Dom. Because this is exactly what it is too. That was a great album, and this is I think is different styles. I mean, there's some disco similarities to it, but Gavin Turek was more into that genre in that album. But like this is just levels above that in my opinion. Like this is fucking phenomenal. Level Work It Out is one of the best intro songs to albums I heard this year. It was like a red carpet dripped in velvet. Like this shit was perfect, bro. Like you have to listen. Like I don't care what you listen to. I don't care what type of music you listen to. This is good for any setting. This is good for every setting.
It's got that thing that's like you don't need to touch this one. You know, it's very much that's why it's so appealing to such a wide audience.
But this is Showtime at the Apollo Music. That's all I'm gonna say. That's how I ended on that, bro. You hear this? This is just the outro and the intro, and the commercial break transitions. That's all I'm gonna say.
Welcome to the Traklife YouTube channel. We are the New Music Release Club. I am Dom.
I'm Aiden.
And I'm Stevenson. Here's the links at the bottom of the YouTube page. Subscribe and check out more content from the Music Release Club.
Yeah, check out our album reviews. We also got live sessions, raw stream, all that good stuff right here on the Traklife YouTube page.